He had one job.
Nice.
Sir.
You a little extra for doing that?
I'm assistant to the IT director.
Nice. That's gonna be a bump.
We'll call to order the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. I do not see Pastor Steve. Bob, would you like to lead us in prayer?
Dear Lord, we just come to you for everything that we have, Lord, and we're thankful for everything we have, Lord, and we just ask that you watch over us tonight, guide us, direct us, give us the wisdom to make decisions, and Lord, above all, just give this country some peace, help Geneseo and us to be the best that we can be. And Lord, we again just thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Page roll call.
Rothschild.
Here.
Kennett. Swanson.
Here.
Barnhart.
Here.
Roothouse.
Here.
James.
Here.
Samowski. Arnold.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. There is no Chamber of Commerce report tonight. Item number 5 on the agenda would be public comments related to agenda items. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. During public comment, there can be no debate or action by the city council at this time. Sandy, I believe this would be your opportunity. I know you got a lot to say. If you could do your best.
Not too much. I'm going to try to make the 3 minutes.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I'm presenting this to the City Council and the Mayor on April 8th, 2025. Agenda item 0-25-05, tree care guidelines. I'm speaking for the trees. Asking for a delay in the voting because of the information that has not been presented. Does this town have a tree board? I don't know. Who is on the tree board? I would like to know the names. Does the town have a certified arborist? The name, and I have found out that you do not have a certified arborist. Concerned about the 50, 75, and 100-plus-year-old trees without problems and also have been certified healthy, ours particularly from Taylor's Way Arborists from Princeton. Concerned about documents and lack of proper information to the public in a timely manner, such as, I was aware, and this could be wrong, just 2 weeks ago, March 25th, 2025, that's 2 weeks ago, the ordinance 0-25-05 presented to the committee. That's only 2 weeks ago. March 30th, it was published in the paper that we get. March 30th, 2025, just 9 days ago, it was a notice that was first published in the paper. Document was already drawn up, stated the ordinance was passed by the council on April 8th, which is today, and it's already been written up. A document drawn up and adopted 9th day of April, that's tomorrow. It's already been drawn up, and that hasn't occurred yet, tomorrow, not for me anyway. Stated that city employees that work with trees will be participating in a future training program specifically focused for municipal arborist operations. In other words, they haven't been trained and it's in the future. It's not done yet. And you're presenting this. The legal point here is that the town of Geneseo does not have a certified arborist. The best interest of the trees, that's what I'm here for. There's 11 species of trees noted. Who listed these specifically and why? What are the properties of these specific trees? For example, you have the black walnut tree. And I've done research on that one, of course. And it's pretty much disease-free, threatened by few pests, great shade tree, great home for squirrels, one of North America's most valuable and beautiful native trees, also valued for its wood, may live well over 100 years and up to 150 years. The tree that we have is over 100 years. We've been there 51 years and it was already a good size then. They're slow growing, very hardwood trees. Recent deratio, I probably have that spelled wrong, pass through this area with no damage at all. The black walnut trees are very strong. We only get a few little branches that come off once in a while. Not to say an F tornado would not take that down in the rest of your town, yes, but regular wind damage it doesn't get. The replacement costs for trees you got listed is, if you have to replace some of these trees, $300, which you will give one stated, one half of that, $150 reimbursement to the property owner. I don't know if you can get a tree for that price, but they're pretty high. And to replace an existing tree, it would probably be small, take years to grow and bloom, and to produce shade or fruit. If it is, if it's going to even last at all and live, some of them don't. You have an issue about the power lines. The power lines are put out of commission. I know, and probably could be, you have documentation on that probably if we looked into it, from vehicles crashing into the power lines and getting them out of commission more than a tree falling on it. And my black walnut tree has never caused that in 51 years, any power line problem. Also, water and sewer breakages you're concerned about. More breakages due to frozen pipes and then root damages to trees. And as a matter of fact, this particular tree that I'm concerned about mostly was there way before paved road was there. There was a dirt road there, but he has been growing for many years without problems. I was concerned about I should be concerned about, and you too, about the maple tree leaves getting into the storm drain even more. Okay, you were concerned about obstruction of view for drivers. And I would say there's more obstruction of view due to cell phone use and the dogs riding in the driver's laps hanging out of the driver's windows. People can't see than any tree leaves I've ever seen that have blocked any views. And I have seen the other things block views. Geneseo has too many ordinances now, and they're not being able to enforce them for the violations. I've turned in violations to the police department. They won't give them a fine. Give them a fine, they'll stop doing some of the things that they're doing. But they don't enforce their ordinances. You want to put another ordinance on? I don't think you need it. Since 1836, Geneseo has gotten along quite well, existing, lately, until lately, maybe 20 years, whatever. Change is not always good. It's not always for the betterment of a community. Geneseo stated a community where the future grows. So let the trees grow. Let the ones live that are able to live and still healthy and still give us seniors that are 80 plus the pleasure of them. I am concerned that you will take down trees that don't need to be taken down for various and sundry reasons. Okay, change is costly. And I'm just going to give an example. It has nothing to do with the trees, but change is costly. And it's going to be costly to you as I go on further down. The new logo you put in with the split leaf and the different colored leaf. We had a very nice maple leaf green for years and years and years that I've lived, and it did the community well. And this logo change costs money because you had to change the logo on your trucks, cars, letterheads, and many businesses around town, whatever, that costs money. It was unnecessary, really, but that's just an opinion. There's other things that you do that are costly. Save money. Sometimes a change is instigated to prove the worth of an employee, show that they are doing something to ensure their job, validation for them, but not really a betterment for the community if it adds cost and expense. Cost and expense always comes back to the taxpayer, one way or the other. Proposed progress is not always progressive. It's not. It's not always. Finally, this proposal has been moving too fast without due study of the consequences of this ordinance and without consideration of existing trees. Someone needs to speak for the trees. Stop copying other towns. Think and study the issues for specific situations in our particular and unique community. Geneseo is not Moline, the Quad Cities, or a suburb of Chicago. This issue has been forced fast and great speed for reasons only some of you have knowledge of. There are too many unanswered questions here. You're not prepared. You don't have an arborist. You don't have, quote, ducks in a row to start this. I have had the opportunity to speak with most of the council members and the mayor very nicely. They've been very pleasant to me. They've listened to my opinions, and I appreciate that. It is evident to me that some of the members had not been aware or had knowledge of some of the concerns that I've presented, and maybe some other people have. Okay, I'm probably running over. I'm almost done. There is no hurry or rush for this ordinance. Arbor Day comes every year, and we've had Arbor Day celebrations. I want to say that you had something about it would give curb appeal to have these new little trees grow up, which I won't live long enough to see bloom or produce anything. I have been told by people that I have a good curb appeal for my house. I don't know. That's their opinion. We like it there. We've been there 51 years. But existing beautiful trees add to property value. The existing ones do. And that would take away from my property value. If you want to do that, then I want to go to Cambridge and lower my value on my property so that I can get a tax relief. Spend it, the other thing it says here, spend at least $2 per capita per urban forestry. Now, you have to spend, that's one of the criteria to be a city, tree city. So $2 per capita with 6,500 people would be $13,000. Who gets that money? Who is going to get that money? Do you have somebody figured out to spend $2 per capita? I'd like to know who. And I think you all should read The Secret Lives of Trees. It's very interesting. I will tell you something about it. They do send out messages, maybe they're pheromones or whatever, to other trees to tell that insects and things are coming. It's a very interesting book. And we have a redbud tree in the backyard. We've been there 51 years. He's been there. And he's leaning over. He's about to his end. He's in our property, leaning on our property. Interesting fact. He has sent out roots. You're all invited to come and see it. It's very interesting. To go over the main trunk to hold it. It's extremely interesting to protect it. I'm here for the trees. I think you're moving too fast. I think there's a lot of problems that could come up with this and it's costly. It will be costly. It will be costly. And I would like you to reconsider it. I think it should be put on whatever you do to extend it, to talk about it, and to think more about what's going to happen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Did I run over?
A little bit, but that's okay.
Okay. I didn't want to.
We haven't,
How much did I go over? How
um,
much?
about 3 times, but
6 minutes?
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay, Sandy. No problem. Ann, do you have anything? Chief, anybody in the lobby? Okay. Moving on, item number 6 would be mayor's comments. And tonight I have an Arbor Day proclamation to read. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture set aside a special day for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in the community increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of businesses, areas, and beautify our community. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Shauna Johnson, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of Geneseo. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support the efforts to protect trees. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden and the heart and promote the well-being for future generations. I have no, what's that? Would you like to start reading them? They're very wordy. Okay. I have no other mayor comments at this time. City council comments. City members of the council? No? Brandon, city administrator comments.
Yep. Well, as Mayor Johnson just said, Arbor Day is on 4/25. We will have an Arbor Day celebration with a tree planting on that day as well. We'll announce those details in the coming week here, where that will be. Just one other reminder that spring curbside cleanup is May 5th through the 8th. Check out the city Facebook page or city website, or stop by City Hall for more information about your quadrant and the rules around spring junk cleanup. That's it.
Okay, moving on. Item number 9, Finance Director comments. 9.1 would be the Treasurer's Report and Capital Assets Report as submitted.
Right, the first thing is the budget book. There aren't really a whole lot of changes. Typically, your month of March aren't really hefty bills. It's usually your early time, and then our revenues, we'll see the majority of them start coming in when we get our taxes in June. Does anybody have any questions on any of the budget book? The next thing is the treasurer's report. And there were a few changes, but not many. And they were mostly minimal changes within the balances. Any questions on the treasurer's report? And then lastly is capital assets, and I believe there was only one update in electric.
Yeah, so the mini skid that we had budgeted for did arrive. The invoice for it is in the bills. That's from the situation.
And department updates.
We do have a couple updates since the last council. The Richmond Hill Underground Replacement Project. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit.
Okay.
Hartco started boring on April 1st. They have 2 bores left to do, which should be done tomorrow. And then line crew will go in and put wire in and terminate the wire and connect that and replace the bad wire, direct bury wire that we have there, and be able to loop it from Stewart Street over to State Street. North State Street Underground Project. After tonight, we will start ordering wire and devices, and that project will probably start into May. And we'll start boring and getting things ready for that. The only other thing is the power plant battery bank replacement. The batteries arrived on the 2nd, and they are scheduled to be installed on the 29th. And then it's not on here. Some of this stuff was updated by the time I left last week. SCADA project, we are just doing some of the final touches on communications and getting those issues over in the next 2 weeks. We will be converting over to the new SCADA system. We got our reclosures and communications good, and everything's reading and trending like it's supposed to. And then I think the last one is the 12470 transformer conversion project, Old Circuit 5. Hartco installed the ducts on the 7th. They started the 2nd. We finished it yesterday. We ran into some issues getting underneath the tracks, but those ducts are in. The guys will pull the wire in. Once we get the wire pulled in and energized, we will convert Progress Lane from 4160 to 12470. And then we have a few poles left on Exchange Street, set a reclosure, and fire up the energy or the transformer at the power plant, and that project will be done. Any questions? Alrighty.
The stuff for the public works side, for the water, hopefully after tonight, approval for the engineering services from IMEG. We will get working on scope and some inspections and so forth to continue that process. 6 well engineering, we did have a meeting with IMEG back here in the middle of March. We decided we're not probably going to go with a deep well due to the extreme cost of a deep well. We're going to look in the aquifer from the 400 to 600 foot range. There's a couple private wells we're going to be sampling so we can get some water quality parameters, and we'll be doing a couple test drill sites for water quality in a couple other locations. The well 33, since we met last time, we have ran the water main from the pitless adapter, the actual well, to the well site building where that'll be. And then we are still waiting on the EPA permit for that. On the wastewater side, we do have a schedule set up already for April 15th, our first meeting. We'll be discussing what we need for the infrastructure improvements down there. Street department, street overlay, we're working on our quantities and estimates so we can get numbers put together to go out for bid. And then North State Street construction, since I wrote this Thursday, they did finish installing the water main up to Wells Street. Today they did 2 live taps. So when we get done let me step back a little bit. They finished the water main as far as they could get. They did fill the water main. They did pressure test it. They have chlorinated it. They have taken 2 consecutive samples. As of today, before I left, I hadn't received notification if the first sample passed or not. So you got to have 2 consecutive clean samples before you can actually start tying your services on. They did start digging services up this week, and they are starting to get everything prepped. And they're anticipating Monday or Tuesday they can start doing those. And then right after that, they will start on the sanitary sewer. So probably in a couple weeks, they'll be hopefully installing sanitary sewer. Phase 1, we did get an email today for the residents from Park Street up to Palace Row. Hopefully with weather permitting next week, they can get started doing some concrete and seeding and so forth. And then the Chicago Street design pathway that we discussed, that is going to be the bid opening will be on May 7th. So we will know the prices, then we could take it to council and discuss it and let you guys decide what direction we'll go. Any questions?
Why does the deep well work?
So if we do like a Jordan well, it can produce, so it's a deep well, like 2,000, 2,200 feet deep. That's ideally what we wanted to go, so we could produce a large volume of water. So they did their research on it and stuff. The treatment could be really harsh for us when we'd have to blend water and stuff. So we took that into consideration, and we took the actual cost of one well of drilling it. They came back with the estimates, and it'd be like $2.5 million just to drill the well. So EPA would require us to have a backup, a redundancy well. So then it'd be like $5 million we'd spend on just drilling 2 wells. So if we go to that 4 to 6,
No guarantee on water.
there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee on any of it. So our best bet is we'll be able to, like I said, we'll be able to drill basically like a residential well at 400 to 600 foot. And then we can get the water quality that we can test it. And then we could start designing a plant to get a really good estimate of what it would cost
You have
us.
no idea what's a normal 4 to 600 well cost.
It's just like, this would just be a test well. So it'd probably be, don't quote me, but it'd probably be $20,000. They're in contact with Gingrich over in Iowa.
Is that the depth we have of our wells now?
No, ours are shallow sand and gravel, so 70 foot. So we would
Deeper wells.
we would actually be in limestone fractures and so forth.
Do we buy land for that deep well at all?
No, we have not bought any land. So
Just to clarify, that 20,000 is for the test well,
Test
not for the
well.
well.
Yeah. It's just it'll just be a 4-inch PVC column pipe and stuff. So
No update on the squad car. The flock cameras, confirmation that they will have those installed on Route 6 East and West sometime end of April to mid-May. Did it? Okay. And Julie's came in for it. New office furniture is closed out. It's all arrived and been put together. Range building, so that IGA was signed by Blackhawk, and we have a meeting with Travis Mackey and the leaders of that crew on Thursday, and that's when we'll go over the plans and probably have to buy some finishing products like nails and fun stuff like that. And then we'll get a start date for them, and I'll let you know when that happens next update. Optics have been installed in the firearms. This is the carryover from 2024. They're installed. We still have to do a practice and qualification with them. And that will happen here sometime in May, before the 21st. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
I had a question for Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just noticed on the revenues, shows were like, about 2.5 million off of where we had projected when near the end of the fiscal year. Am I reading that right?
For which one?
But the first line, you have the budget of 3.8 million, but year to date, we're only at 1. This is March.
Yeah,
Are you on a May one or a June? No.
calendar.
Calendar. Okay, yeah, that's why I was asking, like, are we at the end of the calendar year?
Probably voted it.
Well, then the same question goes why it looks like we've already spent most of the money. Is
Yeah,
that how
so-
we usually do it?
Yeah, once we broke out the funds for public works, street, park, cemetery, and public safety and inspections, their transfers occur at the beginning of the year to fund those funds.
You
For the
usually do that right off the get-go.
Yeah.
And then try to make it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, then administration on projects. For the Richmond Hill Park stage, we are right now working with local contractors to obtain competitive proposals for the concrete and foundation work for the stage structure. Our goal is to start that pour in May for the foundation and the pad out there. And then for the pedestrian bridge at Oakwood Landing, we are just waiting on the DOT to release the awardees for the ITEP cycle. And hopefully we're deemed worthy of some funding from the state on this project. We should know within the next couple of weeks here at the latest.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report and capital asset reports as submitted.
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
second by Swanson. Roll call.
Roothouse.
Yeah.
Arnold.
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Any unfinished business or items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Can we talk about the tree care?
Yeah, I have a suggestion to make.
So somebody want to make it?
Make a motion to take O-25-05 off of the consent agenda.
Motion by Roothouse, second by
Second.
Barnhart. Do we need a roll call on that?
Yeah.
No, it comes off automatically.
Okay, just come, okay.
Oh, it's not? You don't need a roll call?
There's a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
You just won't read it
I
off.
didn't read off the
Yeah, you can
consent
say, which
agenda
one
though.
was it? 11-1. 11-1 and 11-3 through 11.
6, oh, yeah.
Through 11-5. That was
So you
the
j-
motion.
You just,
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda
Without that,
without 11-2.
2.
11.2.
Second.
Okay, so motion Roothouse, second Arnold. Roll call.
Arnold.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Roothouse.
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Barnhart.
yes.
Okay, motion carries. Now unfinished business would be 11.2 O-25-05, the tree care guidelines.
I just wanted to comment that, again, I want to reiterate, this is for public land. So this is not telling people you can't plant black walnuts in your yard. It's simply saying we're not going to plant those trees in our parks. And so I think there may be some confusion. The one thing I wanted to talk about,
What is the public tree? Exactly.
On public grounds, our parks right away that line the streets in between the curb and the sidewalk traditionally.
The easement.
What
Yeah.
if you just had one that happened to go to your power line? Was it in that right of way? Well, yeah, but we're gonna have the easement and the ability to maintain it right.
we'll still maintain trees that are in the easements, but, and we have, guidelines in here about planting under them. And that's not wise to do.
Okay.
And we will, and have the right to maintain those trees.
But I would, on that subject, would note, it's important to note that we've really worked hard with people when they want to plant, even though there may be a right-of-way situation, we've allowed citizens to appeal to department heads and things of that nature, and we've exercised good discretion. So we don't just apply an iron fist to that. We try to use common sense along the way. So again, being very tree friendly to our community.
The only suggestion I was going to make is, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the clause off the top of my head about, trees that are damaged and what have you, because that is on private property. And currently it just says it's up to the director, but I'm wondering if we could add like a certified arborist should say this tree is damaged, this tree is unhealthy, not just someone going out and saying, yeah, there's mold. I think we should cut it down.
Which section are we talking about?
It'd be at the very bottom. I'm sorry. It's keep going.
Is this it?
No, keep going.
Nuisance trees?
Yeah, the nuisance trees. It just says I just wonder if we can add with consent of a certified arborist.
That is the practice right now because this is in place. And is that in there?
It's right there. Yeah.
Let's see.
Nuisance tree already had the ordinance that we follow.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
24-1 takes care of that? Okay, I mean, that was the only thing I was reading through that is to say, it's with section of 24-1 of the code.
Right. I think in that full section of the code, it does say certified arborist. I don't,
Police department contacts us, we contact us.
Okay, that was my only, as I was talking through it earlier today, that was one thing that, again, I just felt like that's the only time that we could potentially take out a tree on private property.
and any time it's ever been enforced, we have a
For sure.
certified arborist.
Yep.
Evaluate it and provide a written recommendation.
I know we've done the right thing. I just thought that we should add it, but if it's in 24-1, and my apologies, I did not go look at
Yeah.
that.
So
That was
do we
my
just
concern.
consult? Do we just hire it for like the job? Okay.
Yep.
That was only that was really my thing. I just wanted to reiterate for the public that this again only applies to public land. So you're welcome to plant whatever trees you want on your private land as long as it doesn't interfere with.
My
Yeah.
only question was about notice and timing. So if you had one that was in the right of way, but it's obviously like like provide shade for a house, do we have anything that says, hey, we'll give them 7 days? Not that they can appeal it, but just a notice like, hey, we're going to be cutting down the tree or 14 days, or I don't even, I'm just throwing numbers out to you.
We currently door tag them and notify them of what reason the tree will be coming down.
Do we have like a policy though? Like, cause I mean, if I was gone on the weekend, and you're like, hey, I put a sign on your door, or you know what I mean? Like maybe like a week or,
It's usually like 2 to 3 weeks.
oh, it's that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric door tags is tree clearings also.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was wondering if there's something in there that said, there'll be a notice at least 14 days or something.
I don't know if it's written in policy.
No, but not in cases of emergency. So if it's like an
But
emergency,
that's an extra fund. Now, who's gonna make that fund?
Chad, he's already listed as the director of public works would be in this, right? Or
That's
in
in the
this org,
nuisance situation.
only in the nuisance?
Yeah.
Well, throughout this, it says the director or their appointee is the director in all of this. So they're the ones that determine like which trees can be planted and.
And what I meant by emergency, the difference is like, we know this tree's dying, it's in the way. So then you give notice, maybe like 14 days out. But obviously if it's a storm or something and you're like, hey, this tree's got to come down, then, you would make that decision and be like, we're just taking it down.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
that's just a recommendation then, but.
Yeah.
any
It's
thoughts
certainly
there?
something we could add to internal SOPs. I mean, right now in our communication policies, we do try to give, if it's not an emergency, we give at least 2 to 3 weeks
Okay.
notice. But yeah, emergencies, the big storms that came through, tornadoes and yeah, the guys, the line crew's going to be out there.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna-
don't think there's anything with that. I was thinking more of, it's an old tree, it's starting to die. It's
Yeah.
kind of by a power line, but, it's
If
100
it
years
was a
old.
storm, we would clear the branches that have fallen off the lines, but we would not take the tree down. It would be assessed after
Oh, okay.
we get stuff back up. unless it was a hazard to the public safety, we would clear lines, get lines back up, and then come back and address if it was an issue.
Yeah, maybe it's more communication, just so it's the appearance, you know what I mean? So that people feel like the tree's just not gonna disappear, that we're just being transparent.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like we kind
Yeah.
of are, but maybe just somehow to kind of.
We
Years ago,
100%
there were
are. Yeah, right now.
And the trees that we're talking about, the reimbursement are ones taken from the right of way.
Right.
And up to $300 if
Right.
you plant it on your side of the sidewalk.
Yep.
We're not talking about removing trees out of people's yards.
Right.
On,
Nope. And that's, we put that policy in place, what, a year or so ago, to encourage people to plant on their own property rather than to put it back into the right of way
Sure.
where there's more of an opportunity for utility interference.
Yeah.
So,
and how many people have we had take advantage of this?
I believe 0.
And who came up with the list of trees that you couldn't have? How was that determined?
Yeah, so we did that in the policy in the replanting incentive program last year. I believe we looked at recommendations from other communities, from some of the foundations that run these things like the Arbor Day Foundation and other ones that we work with, and then just internal discussion about the trees that we've had problems with.
Based on roots, some roots go way out and can potentially buckle sidewalks. or
Yeah,
go
and it
toward
talks
hidden
about that in
centers,
here,
yeah.
softwoods, or if they're prone to insects and infestation, and that, they're gonna rot quicker, we recommend not planting those trees, and we're not gonna do it in the public right away.
We had the presentation years back. I may have just been on council at the time, if you remember correct, Chad. Who put that on? It was an extensive survey of the town. Yeah,
Augustana,
Augustana. And I mean, it was really educational about how unfortunately, how suspect so many of our trees are to, disease that can spread across the nation type scenario. So I think the list is specifically targeted to make sure we replant trees that are not prone to those types of things and are extra hardy.
Yeah.
And then just to clarify a couple comments that Ms. Grader made is, if we wanted to continue forward with the Tree City, it does require the $2 per capita spending on trees, and it does require us to have a board, but that's not really part of this ordinance. But it's, if we want to go for that certification, there are extra things that we'd have to do. And correct me if I'm wrong there, Brandon.
Yeah, it doesn't require us to have a board, so this ordinance sets up the ordinance that we would pass. You're not required to have
Oh,
a tree
okay.
board. We're defining Chad as the point of contact on these tree priorities for us. As far as the per capita funding, so that's just the requirement as far as us spending that much money on tree planting, care, and maintenance. So we do that now in our budget with everything that we do. And so there's nobody getting money or comments about that. This is money that the city is spending, and we already do on tree care. So we're compliant with all that for the application.
I just want to clarify those comments because
Yeah.
it, again, pertains to the bigger picture, but not necessarily this ordinance.
Right.
I like to point out South State Street, only because when we tore all those trees down, it looked like an absolute disaster. But here we are. I don't even know how many years it's been. And it
9.
looks really good. And look how many trees are there, and they're hardwoods. So I like the idea of showing that we're dedicated to a tree. I know there's always going to be that period when, put up a new subdivision or you do a street, it's going to look bad. But that's a good example to show but it turned out well and there's nice trees there.
And I pointed out Oakwood Cemetery because we were devastated, in 2010? And I mean, so many of those died off from disease they sustained during the damage. And I know you've planted many and you're continuing to try to plant in the places that make sense. So.
I'll make a motion to, I'm having a mind blank. I'll make a motion to adopt O2505 tree care guidelines.
Motion by Barnhart. Second by Arnold. Roll call.
Arnold,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Roothouse,
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 12 would be the payment of city and utility bills.
Pay the bills, motion to pay the bills as submitted.
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
second by Swanson. Roll call.
Swanson,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Barnhart, Rothschild,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Roothouse.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Item number 13 would be public comment related to all other items. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. During public comment, there can be no debate or action by the city council this time. Nothing? Ann? Sandy?
Did I miss the 11.1 and the approval flow? Yeah.
You already did
Yep.
it.
I got way lost when we were talking trees.
Okay, without any public comment, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Arnold, second by Swanson. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.